Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm bringing you guys part 2 of this little mini series here on the channel of basically how to start your off-season off right here in Madden 19 and how to get things rolling in the right direction. So as you can see from the last video, we've now moved on to free agency week 1, and there's just a couple tips I want to go over with you guys whenever you actually hit the free agency portion of the offseason. So the first thing that you're going to want to do as soon as you go and advance from the re-sign period to free agency week 1, you want to take stock of your team and you want to figure out what positions you need, and you want to figure out how many players you need on your team. So the best way that I've found to do this, if you're not as experienced or you're not able to remember it all in your head, you have to keep going back and forth between here and the signed free agents pages and everything like that. Just take a little note down on your phone or on a piece of paper and just say, hey, this is what I need. So going through my team, I need one backup center. I need one tight end. I'm looking for a starting tight end to maybe replace Greg Olsen. I'm looking for a backup wide receiver. I'm looking for a backup quarterback. I'm looking for 2 of this position, 1 of that position. I'm looking for both defensive ends. And so then you'll have a general idea of what positions you're needing, whether they're starting players, backup players, and then how many players overall you need. That way, when you go into the signed free agents page, you never really have to back out to your roster to figure anything out. That's a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it just makes things more complicated than they need to be. Simplify it down for yourself. Summarize what your needs are on a little piece of paper or on a little note on your phone, and then go in and do all of your free agency signings after that. Now, the thing that I'll show you guys here on my team is obviously I need a couple different positions. I need starting defensive ends. I'm looking for maybe a tight end, a backup linebacker, all of those different things. And I have 37 out of what would be 53 players on the roster, but it's 75 because it's the offseason. But ultimately, we're looking at 53 players whenever we start the regular season off once again. So what I'm looking at is 53 minus 37 puts us at 16 players that I can acquire between the draft, or I can have on my team between the draft and between the draft, between the time that we actually start regular season. What I'm trying to say is essentially we want to acquire at most 16 players that we're going to have on our team. Maybe we can acquire a couple more to give them tryouts here and there, whatever it might be, but you're aiming for 16 players. So what you want to do is you want to go and take stock of your draft picks. Generally speaking, you're going to have a couple of bad draft picks here and there, so you can account for the fact that 1 or 2 of your draft picks aren't going to stay on your team. So I can say, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 draft picks. I have 8 draft picks. I have 16 slots open on my team. So I'm going to say maybe 7 of the draft picks are going to stick around on my team. I'm going to keep them. Maybe 6, 7 of them are going to be on there, and a couple of them end up on the practice squad. Whatever that may be, that's just what you want to do. You want to take stock. How many players are you going to be drafting? How many players are you then going to have to sign in free agency? So that means even if I drafted all 8 players and kept them, I would probably want to sign at least 8 players in free agency to fill the spots that I have. So this goes back to taking down a little note, either in your phone or on a piece of paper, and letting yourself know what you need at each specific position. And you can tell what you need at each position by just going in. Quick, easy way to do it is if you auto reorder your depth chart. The depth chart is the best way to tell you what you need at each position. So it tells you need 3 quarterbacks on your depth chart. Now, you don't have to follow this to a T. Generally, I run like 2 quarterbacks and not 3 quarterbacks. So you don't have to follow every position to a T, but generally this will show you, okay, I need a backup quarterback, obviously, so I need to add 1 of those. At halfback, I need to maybe add a 4th halfback. If I go to tight end, I know just my preference is I want to move on from Greg Olsen, so I want to add a tight end if there is a good starting tight end. And so on and so forth. You can just go through every single position and figure out exactly what you need, and just keep a note of that. That way, once you get into the signed free agents phase, you don't have to spend a lot of time going back and forth between this signed free agents phase or page and this roster page or your depth chart or anything like that. Get it all together first and then go in and sign free agents. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I find to be the easiest way to go through and sign free agents and manage this pretty quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll through, just see what players are out there. Obviously, there's a bunch of good players here, but I'm going to go through based off the list that I have and take a look position by position what my team could need. So generally speaking, I don't need safeties, and there aren't any particularly good safeties here. There is Earl Thomas, so I may consider offering a bid on him, but what I'll do for every single player that I want is I'm going to go in and I'm just going to submit the base offer for that player. I'm not going to bother increasing it, decreasing it. I'm not going to focus on one specific player over another or anything like that. I'm going to go through and say I want Trey Waynes, for example. I'm going to make one offer, the base offer on every single player that I'm interested in. So we wanted potentially a backup linebacker. We'll go with Bud Dupree. And I'm just going to do this real quick and then show you guys what I do once I make a base offer on each of these players. Now we want defensive ends. Anthony Zettel looks like a good target. We'll go ahead and offer him his base. And we'll go ahead and we'll say maybe we'll draft the other defensive end. We let go of Mario Edwards Jr. I wasn't particularly interested in bringing him back. And so this is just kind of a base of what we'll do. And just like I said, scroll through every position. Hunter Henry would be a good ad for us. Just submit whatever we can for him. And actually, we won't be able to. So what I'll do there is I'll immediately start eliminating positions that we don't need. So this is an offer that we don't need. If you click square on it, you can withdraw the offer. And I'm going to go back to the tight end and offer the tight end a contract for what I want it to be. Now, this is what simplifies it. This is what makes everything super easy for us. Say I want to look at 2 different tight ends. I can make offers on both of them. And then I can basically eliminate my way down later. Now, I didn't need a whole lot at any other positions, so here's the key to this. Here's the key to everything. Here's the key to making your offseason easy, simple, straightforward, quick, and make it relatively fun and easy. So once you have submitted an offer for every player you're interested in, you've used up all the cap you possibly can, there's no other players out here that I'm interested in making offers on, get rid of this available tab that you're on. Up there at the top, press R1 and go over to My Negotiations, and then sort it by your top 100 players. Now, from this page, you're going to be able to compare all the players you have offers on and start whittling it down one player at a time. Shut up. Why are you here?
Because you didn't text me to say not to.
You said you weren't coming.
I said, what?
All right, but what you're going to do is you're going to narrow your players down one by one from the My Negotiations tab, as opposed to having to sort through. This is what's a little bit daunting to people, is they go through and they say, okay, there's a million free agents here, and I have to scroll through to figure out who I already have contracts on and everything like that. You don't have to do that. Simplify it for yourself. Go to the My Negotiations tab after you've made a bid on everybody that you want to, and then you can submit modified bids from there. So you can say, okay, at tight end, I'm looking for a starting tight end, but the difference here is that Hunter Henry has bids from other teams. Maybe I'll take my offer away from him and bid on Eric Ebron because there's no competition there for him. So take your bid, and you can just start whittling it down that way. So I'll just increase my bid for Eric Ebron, just because I know that I want him. I've eliminated the other options because I've compared them side by side. It's much easier to compare them this way than at the overall tab, and then you could submit bids that way. So you can compare between and say, okay, I want Anthony Zettel, but maybe I don't want Trey Waynes because I'm decent at corners, and then I'll address the rest of my positions through the draft. So that's kind of just a gist of it. That's not a completely in-depth look of it, but this is the easiest way to set yourself up moving forward through free agency and through the offseason, is just to make it easy for yourself, simplify it for yourself, so you don't have to go back and forth between the roster and through the free agents tab. You can just write down in a note on your phone, like I said, or on a piece of paper and say, okay, this is what I need, this is how many of them I need, and then you go in and do your business from there. Once you're in, simplify it down by putting offers in on all the different players you want, and then go over to the My Negotiations tab and narrow it down from there by comparing between players and comparing offers with other teams. That's going to simplify things for you quite a bit and make the off season a lot easier. So if this video helped you guys out, leave a like down below. Consider subscribing to the channel for more, and comment with any feedback that you have, any videos you guys would like to see me do next time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.